so cela ungene ku-channel bese check lapho bese. Sicela umute mic so that you're not heard.
Black boy, standing for the ghetto, you're so hardcore. Fist held tight, won't let go. Your legs don't seem to run. I see you fighting for the sunlight, 'cause it's yours. When your spirit starts to dream and you open up your wings, you soar. Black girl, beauty finest in your bloodline. The world wants the gifts you're born with. Secrets of all the queens are locked inside your precious genes. Stay gold. See, no matter where you start, you somehow make it to the top. 'Cause you're gold. See, black is so beautiful. Whoa, kissed by the sun as we dance to the drum. So beautiful. Whoa, black is so beautiful. Whoa, our spirits, our hearts, our style and our art. So beautiful. Black man, ancient spirit of the strong, you stand. Father Griot, sing your song. The strength within your hands feel pyramids like you, they stand. Lead on. The protector of the womb, your light illuminates the moon into dawn.
All right. We are live. Welcome. Welcome to Mlinzi Africa. As I have been saying to you, we have rebranded. No longer Ubuntu Awakening. We good to we good ghost. What's happening? Is the sound coming through? Okay. All right. Welcome, brothers and sisters, African family. As you can see today, I am not alone. Welcome back to Mlinzi Africa. As you may remember, we rebranded, and we were previously known as Ubuntu Awakening. We are now Mlinzi Africa, which remains a key theme in what we discuss here. This is a Kiswahili term, Mlinzi, which means a guardian. It reminds me of my own language in Chivenda, Mulindi. one who guards, umlinzi. So yeah, welcome to Mlinzi Africa, and of course you understand what that means. I have such a passion for this continent, and I would like to see it prosper. I would like to see it succeed. I would like to see it in a stronger position, preferably a dominant position in the world, and be the dominant force. I do not like the idea of living on my knees and groveling to others. So I would rather be at the top. What do you say, African family? So, as I said, I'm not alone today. Brothers and sisters, I have not announced this yet. However, we have started a new project. It's called, what is it called, Lindo? Let me introduce you to Lindo. My brother, my good brother, Lindo. Hey, Lindo, take it away, man. Explain what we're doing right now.
All right, yo, power to the people, yo. Hey, yo, I'd like to greet you all, whoever was watching. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you make sure that you support, because, yo, like, I mean, we know what community we come from. So we know that a vision, innovation, stuff like that is very looked down upon. So whenever we see guys, especially black men, trying to do something for the community, let's try to support as much as we can, because we need, leaders back in our communities. So yeah, my name is Lindo Gutle Ati. Yeah, in terms of what you were alluding to, in terms of the project we're working on right now, I think this is an official unveiling of some sort.
Indeed.
So really, we were working together going forward a lot. So we have a project, a movement, which we have decided to name Plus 27 Talks. So if you know, you know. So if you're from Mzansi, you know Plus 27, what it means. It means location. You know what it is. So it means South Africa, basically. That's our code. And then talks, conversations, engagements, just us as a community coming together and see what we can do, to make a better future for ourselves. So for me, individually, what I do is, it's music, it's video production, it's a combination of both. But in all of that, it has a mission, it has a vision. There's a mission that I'm trying to, accomplish. And it's whatever tools that I've been able to acquire in this earth that we're living in, that I'm willing to use as like weapons, I guess, in this war, I guess we're in. But I'm not too radical. So when I say war, I don't want to be too dramatic. I don't mean war. So I don't want to be too dramatic. But you're always trying to get it. So yeah, Linda Gutle Arts. Follow me. And on every social it's Linda Gutle Art. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing Ulindo forgot to tell you is that please search for Plus 27 Talks on YouTube. Subscribe. Content ikolda. I-content iyeza.
It's coming.
It's on the way.
Flag the numbers, guys, so that when we drop, you're there.
You know what I mean? We're taking it away. So go, please. Plus 27 Talks. SA Talks. Mzansi Talks. That's what it is, So go on through there. Brothers and sisters, today we're just going to be having a conversation about a lot of political things, but we will keep it simple. And the thing I appreciate is that today I'm not sitting with Pusho who agrees with everything I say. Today I sit with someone who has differing views from mine, and I appreciate that, because we have to have that culture of being able to sit and have different views on issues, And
Same mission, just maybe different paths to get there.
Different paths, but that element is very important. I've seen, interestingly, I've seen this among the mega, supporters, very fragile. The moment you disagree with them, they turn red in the face. I mean, damn, you know what I mean? It's I mean, what's up? You know what I mean? Why are you so sensitive? You know what I mean? So for me, it's not a thing, man. We need to learn to develop thick skin, because at some point we must learn to move away from the politics of emotionalism and be strategic in order to attain victory. Because one of the tactics your opponent keeps using is emotionally triggering you. The moment something racial comes up, or something whatever to do with women, misogyny, get triggered, and then it's done on purpose to trigger you, because it's known these things trigger you. You know what I mean? So at some point we have to be able to be so thick-skinned that even the word kafir doesn't trigger us, Bafit. You know what I mean? It's a hard thing to say, but it shouldn't trigger you. It should make you think, okay, why is this person doing this thing? You see that? And what would be the appropriate response? And it doesn't mean the response has to be soft or weak or whatever, but it has to be well thought out, in full, consequences included. So that's all I'm saying. Lindo did allude to the fact that we are in war, and war is won through strategy, not emotion. That's all I'm going to say. And so, being someone who wants the victory for African people, I do want us to not be too triggered by things. It doesn't mean you shouldn't get angry, but get angry strategically. Plan, fight, win. That last part is the most important. Win.
W.
Not L's, man. I'm tired of collecting L's, man.
L's, bro.
No.
You've been collecting that for eternity.
I corner too. We are the generation of the W's.
We gotta get the W's.
What is it? W. W, man. Yeah. Thank you for joining us today for this conversation, and I'm sure many of you are already fascinated by the fact that I'm sitting with someone who disagrees with me, and I'm sure you'll be happy to have someone rebut me. And Mlindo, please don't hold back. We are free here. Express yourself as freely as I know you to always do, even in disagreeing with me. One last thing in housekeeping, please do note we have two ghosts in the background who may or may not come in at some point in the show or in the conversation. So, to start off, I have been observing political discourse globally and locally, and something strike me. And I observe, for example, the whole debacle with AfriForum locally, and then they made it an international incident where they were, spreading misinformation in the United States of America. They were given an offer that since life is so bad for white Afrikaners in South Africa, you could come over to the US for refugee status. Of course, they won't take it because they would be insignificant in the US. They can only matter here. You know what I mean? They can only exist here truly as the Dutch. Afrikaners.
That's the first topic.
It's going into it. But really, the thing that fascinates me in the current political discourse, if I could put it that way, or the conversations around politics, is it's interesting how in South Africa the podcast space is developing with the likes of Penwell the Black Pen, Citizen Consent, what is this, 360 Experience, Thomas Mabaso, Then you have the Pan-Africanists like myself. We are still growing here, but you have myself, you have King Said So, and people like that. And you do see the stances of everyone. You know me, I'm a Pan-Africanist, big proponent of Black consciousness. In other words, I believe Black people should assert themselves unapologetically. We are human like everyone else. We deserve to prosper like everyone else, and no one must think they are superior to you as a Black person. That's my view. It's the Black consciousness position, and we'll fight for it if we must, and if we must bleed or whatever we must do. We must be willing to do it. And so, from that perspective, you get it. And my brother King Said So is similar to that in a sense, and maybe other sort of Pan-African leaning sort of content. You will find there are some also from other places in Africa, in Kenya and Ghana and other places. And so you see there are, all these different sides. Now in South Africa, what is interesting, I've started to see, because in America they have obviously Donald Trump supporters, MAGA, Make America Great Again. And then you have the left, if I could call it, and I've seen those channels as well, the left, so-called the left. And then in South Africa, I'm seeing a similar thing emerging. There's an interesting phenomenon, of course, the so-called Black MAGA, the Black people who support Donald Trump, who are mostly seen as sellouts. And then in South Africa, I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing all these I have mentioned, Penwell the Black Pen, friends with Rob Hessoff, and all of that, and he says he's a non-racialist and all that. It's cool, but, you see those types, who are trying to balance the scale, I guess, in some sense. And then you get the more Julius Malema leaning. I'm a big fan, by the way. Shout out, Juju. Big bro. Shout out. I'm a fan. I lean to that direction. You know what I mean? I lean to that direction.
That's very funny.
I lean in that direction politically. But you see, we have to be very clear. It doesn't mean I agree with everything that he says or stands for. But I think in the majority, especially politically and geopolitically. Now, if we talk about social issues and all of that, on things of gender, orientation, all of that, that's another story. So, I don't take everything or throw the baby out with the bathwater because, the brother is a force and I like what he stands for. So, I observe this phenomenon, and in all of that, and as I listen to what I consider, what I could call a racial apologism or racist apologists, if I can call it that. People who try to massage feelings of whiteness, and try to revise history so that white people don't feel so bad about what happened in the past, It's interesting, these are the channels I've mentioned, both Citizen Consent and everything, who try to make it seem like black people are the worst in the world, and white people are special and superior. I mean, Citizen Consent has even said it at some point. White people are superior. So, that kind of thing, the I call it Mega South Africa. Mega South Africa, so-called conservatives, anyway. But, yeah, and in that, this is where now our subject comes in. And Ulindo is going to engage with it as he sees fit. But, I wanted us to take a break from the American shenanigans, and everything that's happening over there. People having voters' remorse and everything and all of that. All those conversations that are happening. I have a few things I want us to discuss. First question. I start with, do our people take themselves seriously? Especially, these ones who, engage in this apologism for whiteness. Do we take ourselves seriously? Because no, I've never seen any other people who are so apologetic like Africans or blacks. Everyone else is assertive, they are clear in themselves. Chinese is Chinese and they're not apologizing to anyone. And they're clear on their history, where they come from and where they would like to go. The moment an African comes on the scene, it's like he's trying to figure out, he's shuffling, he's not sure. Kanti Senza, and that's my thing. Do we take ourselves serious? And the way we've been disrespected, in this country, things that have been happening politically, do we take ourselves serious? And that's where the conversation starts. So my question is, considering leadership and how weak our leaders are, and how much trouble we find ourselves in as a people, and there doesn't seem to be a defense, because leaders are a wall of defense around their people. So my question is, why don't black South Africans give EFF a chance? The numbers are clear. With our vote, we could determine the direction of our country's development. So obviously you come across that problem, that because Africans obviously are the majority in this country. So whatever, if we decided to vote as a group, we decide what happens. But we're not doing that. We are split in all different directions. And that's why I ask myself, do we take ourselves seriously, especially political? So, but why? Why can't we say, no, we're tired. We're tired of this nonsense. 30 years now, these guys are not doing, clearly, they're not doing what we need to happen. So, why not? Why don't black South Africans give EFF a chance?
Okay, so first and foremost, it's impossible to be South African MAG, because you're already South African, and MAGA stands for Make America Great Again. So
It must be Massa.
it must,
Make South Africa great again.
then we're talking, then we're talking, you know. But then, in terms of why we don't give EFF a chance, look, bruh, let's be honest. They are lunatics, bro. EFF is full of lunatics, bro. And you'd think that maybe Julius Malema would at least try to stop, the violence and, the things that their supporters do in tearing stuff apart. Even in varsities, they're the ones that burn stuff. They're so radical, because the leaders like Julius Malema, they incite stuff like that. And then when it comes to policies, for me, Julius Malema can say anything. But the fact that I know that he advocates for an open border, he advocates for, the alphabet community, he advocates for so many things originally as African culture are against. Because let's be honest, there's a reason why we come in tribes. So we had a conversation back then. We were like, hey, for us to get along, we shall embrace our differences and allow everybody to live out their differences. That's why I am Zulu and you are Vanda. If there was someone maybe 200, 500 years ago who said, no, let's all be one thing, then you wouldn't have this so much variety of cultures, because we would have been one thing. So we always knew that the best thing for us is to be in our own cliques, because even in a small example, let's say a group of friends. In varsity, that's how campus lives. It's just a group of friends around, and that makes for a group of students. We can't force people to all be in one box, So I think that's what the EFF most of the time promotes. Let's all be in this mindset. Let's do like this. Let's take it by force. Whereas some people are like, yo, when are we going to be diplomatic? When are we going to be the people that go into the boardroom or the office or wherever and negotiate and say, hey, I believe in my land. I believe in my product, in what I have to offer in this world. I do not have to be what do you call this? I don't have to doubt myself. I don't have to doubt what I can offer because I know it's so valuable. But then that's not how we move. And that's not what the EFF promotes. EFF promotes victim mentality. You are black, you are put down, you are oppressed. Let's go out and tear shit apart. Let's fight. Fight. No. There's so many intelligent black people out there who don't want to go to the streets, who want to be in a position whereby they can write legislation or write policies or or actually make like some real change, have a business that's going to actually employ people, create jobs, and people get a chance to actually make a living. Because whether we like it or not, that's the reality of the life we live now. And we cannot escape that. We have to be good financially, economically first before we even think of changing the world. We can only change the world through stability first. And EFF is not an advocate for that.
All right. Here's my response to that. And again, I go back to my question. Do black people take themselves seriously? Look at what AfriForum, Orania, and all of them are willing to do. They will fuck shit up just for their language. If you say anything about their language, not anything controversial, you just mention their language in any political discourse, they will fuck shit up. They will close down. They will shut down the country. Anything. But oh no, but we must be diplomatic, Now, let me tell you something, black man. Umuntu omnyama. Ain't nobody gonna take you serious until you take yourself serious.
Okay.
Qala lapho. What is it that you are willing to fight for? Kill for or die for? That, you see, in the world, I think Tina in black South Africans in 1994 is domile kakhulu in terms of understanding how the world really works. The world is not this diplomatic circus that you see on TV. The real world is what's going down in Congo now. And what's being reported to you, of course, is the bare minimum. But the gruesomeness and the brutality, that is the real world. When we say geopolitics, those are the kinds of questions we think about. Who has the strongest military? Who can take whatever they want when they want? You understand? Who can contest the biggest bully on the playground? It's a jungle. The world is a jungle. Right now, and that is why in geopolitics, the biggest question now is who is going to emerge as the superpower in the world and dominate China or the United States of America?
Can I just make an example on that point exactly that you just said right now?
All right.
I just want to just mention something. In terms of just diplomacy, let me use the example that you're talking about. Like, if a country, if you want this, you go take it. We should also consider that it's so easy to start a war. So let's say, for an example, I'm South Africa and I'm negotiating with New Zealand, for example. So what I need to do is say, okay, maybe I have coal, I have gold, I have whatever mineral, I have oranges, whatever that I'm selling, right? So to me, it's like, hey, I'm gonna charge you 45% tax or extra whatever on these apples, right? And then of course that's excessive. So of course the New Zealand government will be like, I don't know if we can do this, And then you know what happens? You're gonna somehow find yourself negotiating a deal whereby you end up at least minimum 15% more than you would have sold it for. So that's what I'm talking about. Actually trying to capitalize on the situations we're in as a country to benefit our economy.
Okay. Mlindo, How are you going to negotiate a good deal for your country if you are not assertive? If you are weak,
you can't.
if you come weak, how are you going to get a good deal? You're never going to get a
you're
good.
not.
And that's the
I
thing.
agree with that.
That is the thing I'm saying.
Yeah.
We must take ourselves serious. It doesn't mean start a war. It means show people you can't just push me around. You can't
Yes.
just fucking kick me around.
I agree with
That's
that.
all I'm saying. And so, even in those negotiations, you have to have a certain type of mentality. Now, for me, as I look at leadership in South Africa, if you ask me who is likely to sit in a negotiation room and get me the best deal for South Africa,
No.
I would say it's Malema.
No way.
Because,
Akayifuni deal.
Because-
He doesn't want no deal.
no. Listen, I say this because Ramaphosa is weak. Steenhuisen is white, no interest for me or my people. Songeze Zivi weak. Musi Maimane weak. Who else is there? IFP weak. IFP is the same as the DA pretty much. So for me, I look at the political landscape and say, in terms of choosing the, what is this, the best devil or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's, for me, it's not, this is the best guy. Like, there are things,
The lesser evil.
the lesser evil. There are things Julius Malema did, even in recent months, with the whole situation, in how he has led and all of that, which made me inflamed. But you know what I came back to? I look at that parliament, I listen to everyone who talks, I listen to people in the EFF, and they say things I want. They ask the questions, they demand accountability. Everyone else is just talking fluff. And for me, it's like, who best represents my thoughts? Uchuju. When he speaks, or any of his boys speak, or any of his women speak up there, I'm like, yes, finally someone asks the question I wanted to be asked. All the other political parties don't do that for me. And so that's why I was saying, why don't we give these guys a chance? And you know what?
Can I ask you a question?
Let me, okay, you can ask.
On Julius. On Julius. I just want to ask, what are your views on his open border policy and also his advocacy for the alphabet community?
I think the issue of the open border was not best explained by Julius. I think Mbuiseni Ndlozi explained it best at some point, and people kind of understood. But really, myself, regionally, we're talking about, geopolitically, we're talking about regional integration. That's all we're talking about. What that means is, if our systems are integrated, if you go on King Said So, you will hear him talk about I think he says the advanced border system, something, and what he's talking about there is, if we integrate our systems, we'll be able to track everything. So say SADC, all the countries within SADC, we say, okay, all our systems are going to be integrated, police, so we share information, so that someone from South Africa goes somewhere, commits a crime, those guys, they easily identify with their systems because information is shared, things like that. And then trading more with each other and developing more in partnership and building stronger alliances. This for me only makes sense because you have to have good relations with your neighbors when you consider the broader picture of the world and geopolitics. You are always stronger as groups. Guys, this is a natural law, and that's what I'm telling you. The only way, you see, I was thankful for the time I spent indulging in red pill content in the manosphere, because I'll tell you, I saw the drift when it came. I saw the drift when it came, and where it went. But it doesn't mean those guys were just all talking nonsense. some of the things they were talking were real. And one of the most real things is that this is a freaking jungle, this world. And the strongest animal really devours whatever it wants. And that's why America can do all it wants. Like, even with Trump, as radical and crazy as he is, he can do all of that because he's sitting at the top of the mountain. You understand? He has the strategic advantage, geopolitically, militarily, politically. You understand? So, we can't ignore that part at all. So we must think in those terms that, okay, obviously, if I'm out here in the jungle, out in the wild, my best chances of survival is if I have a pack around me. Likely, a good pack to have is the one in my own backyard. So having good relations with my neighboring countries might be a good idea. And if we have good relations, we help each other develop, maybe people won't have to just pour in all over the place. And you see, this is why I always say, in Africa, man, we're not led. Ain't no leadership, man. Hey, Rico, where you at, my? Hey, man, we're not led. I mean, this issue of regional integration should have been resolved long ago. How many years have we had SADC? How many years have we had the African Union and ECOWAS? All these structures that were supposed to facilitate this process of regional integration, still not done. So we're not led, and that's why my thinking is leadership, man. Who are the leaders that can get us there? I like what they're doing in the Sahel region, Ibrahim Traore and them. It's men making decisions, tough decisions with consequences, but they understand that in the long term, the outcomes are going to be better for our people. We have leaders who are puppets on a string, and they're scared of their masters, scared to offend their masters. So, I admire what Ibrahim Traore and the brothers did in West Africa over there, taking power by force. Of course, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. If you're dying, your people dying, and the guy at the top, you can clearly see that we've got a blind driver here, and we're just hoping we arrive alive. No. Puma, get off the driver's seat. And let people who actually can see drive. And so I'm with that, and so, I think about it in those terms. And so this issue of regional integration should have happened a long time ago. And so we are not saying open border as in, no, everyone can just do as they please, go and come. No. Everything is controlled. Order has always been the African way. What you said initially about us, that, there's no one long ago who said, let's all be one and all of that. You know what I mean? You see, the issue here is that South Africa, we are a so-called nation. But the thing is, this nation was created, the Union of South Africa. After the whites dispossessed us, they fought among themselves, then they reunited, and then they formed the Union of South Africa for themselves. And then they didn't care whether, how they're dividing the country or whatever. It was just done like that. So we are not really a nation, because we didn't come and we didn't from the start, me as Venda, you as Zulu, him as Xhosa, whatever, come together and sit down and have a conference. No, things were, it was being done to us. So, that's why we can't really say we're a nation like that. And so it becomes tricky because, for example, Shona people and Venda people are pretty much the same people. But Shonas are Zimbabweans and Vendas are South Africans. Interesting. What if at some point Venda and Shona decided, hey, let's form our own republic, we'll call it whatever. Now, you see, that would be a nation. You see, it's people willingly coming to the table to say, okay, for our mutual benefits and whatnot, I think we should coalesce in this form. And then that becomes that state. And then it is recognized and respected as such. That's the African way, by the way. It is recognized as such. I mean, and yeah, and you know, I'm not discounting that some nations were formed of conquest, but there were also just a blend where people did come and sit and have conference to say, let's come together. It's mutually beneficial. You know, I'll give you cattle, you know, you give me sheep, you know, or whatever exchange is happening, but whatever is mutually beneficial from the get-go as an agreement. And the problem with the Europeans now, when you look at the greater map of the world, I was talking about South Africa, right? Now, the greater map of the world, they did not come in that spirit to Africa. And that's the problem. And that's why it remains the problem. And that's why even in our dealings with them, it's difficult to come to them like, you know, hey, let's deal with each other like that. Nah. And because of their arrogance and how they look down on Africans, that's another problem. There are too many problems dealing with these folks historically. And let's not forget our history, folks. I'm not one of those guys, eh? Let's forget the past, move on. History is life. History is continuous. History is the present. You understand? So I ain't about that stuff about, oh, let's forget the past. What? So we must forget what you did yesterday when? Okay, so when if you assault someone, let's say you assaulted someone in 2016, should we forget that you assaulted someone in 2016? And what is the time that we must allocate to, because in the African view, murandu ausini, ikala alivoli. That's what they say, ne? Murandu ausini, in Batswana vari mulatu auvoli. So, you know, it's that thing of we are very quick to forget, you know. And by the way, apartheid just ended 30 years ago, eh? And in history, 30 years is pretty much like 3 years in the bigger picture. It's nothing because America is hundreds of years old now, just as a country. So, till now we're 30 years old, baby. No. Nunuza. You're still Nunuza. Eh? You're not even half a century. We're talking about countries that have been around for hundreds of years, building empires. So don't play around, yo. But really, guys, I think we need to be diplomatic, yes, but I think we must put sort of a hierarchy on this thing. I think above all, I think assertive starts first. Self-assertive. You must assert yourself, otherwise you can't do anything. And then strategic. And then maybe diplomatic. Or maybe, I don't know, between diplomatic and ferocious and brutal, so that no one plays around with you. Somewhere there, you understand? So, but we mustn't confuse things and, you know, based on our emotions. No, guys, why are we full of hate? We must forget the past. No. Let's be clear about what's happening in the world and the reality of the jungle and how the weakest prey does continue to be chowed. And therefore, to stop being prey, we must become predators in some way ourselves, so that other predators will look at us and think twice. That's all I'm saying. I pass the mic.
You know, I hear you. But then again, I do think that at the end of the day, I don't want to look at one particular people as an enemy, because anyone could be an enemy. You know, it does not have to be particularly white people. It could be about Asian. You know, it could be African. It could be anybody. And also, especially nowadays, I feel like most of the things that we accuse white people of are actually some of the things that we do to ourselves. Like, I think the people that look down upon black people the most are black people, you know, They're the ones that look down upon other black people. And then we assume that maybe that's what, you know, the white man or whoever thinks. Whereas I think it's what we think of ourselves. Because if that wasn't the case, then we should be more competitive and actually see ourselves as at least minimum equal. If we can't post ourselves to think that we're better, at least minimum equal. Because I think we are making the idea live. And then I always make this silly example when I'm speaking to people. I'm like, imagine a child. Because it happened to me. I was a child, a young black child that grew up. I saw June 16 on TV. I saw Sarafin. I saw all these things. And they impacted me because I was angry. I hated white people, bro. I was there, bro. I was there as if I was in apartheid. I was so mad, so mad. That even in some particular cases, I did act out in front of some white people. Hey, it's crazy because something happened today, but an old me would have said that the thing that happened today was racist. But now, because I'm reborn,
What happened?
I won't say that it's racist
What
now.
happened?
No, I was at a pharmacy, right? And then I'm looking at the counter first. I'm just looking around, and this old white lady's like, "Hey, what do you want?" I'm like, "Hey, bro, I'm at a pharmacy, of course. I'm looking for something." I'm like, "Hey, bro, no, do you need help?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine, and I'm just looking over here." Okay, if you're looking there, then go stand on the line. I'm like, yeah, but now I'm feeling like, yeah, but you're too controlled. I'm like, it's so easily for another black person to take this as racism, but I don't take it as racism. I just take it as somebody who's just at least not nice. Or it's the end of the day, and then they like so tired, they wanna leave, and then I don't wanna go straight to racism first.
Okay,
You know?
so, Mlindo, was it okay that she spoke to you the way she spoke to you? What?
No.
How did it make? You see, the issue with me, it's not even about
It's
race,
disrespect.
disrespect.
Yes.
Do you wanna
not
take?
race, it's
Do you want? Do you want to take disrespect?
I won't take disrespect.
Okay, good.
That's why.
What did you do? Did you? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So you just left.
I left.
You didn't try to say anything. Nothing. Just left.
I have to save myself as I have to save myself as well because now there are people on the line. She's an old woman, even though she's white, she's old still. And then I'm gonna be the guy screaming at an old lady. There's some people there, and then I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do.
Okay. Ngiyakuzwa. So you are saying that sort of having just
was nasty to me.
Yeah, hold on. Having sort of a constant sort of racial thinking pattern can warp how you see things. That is true. As with anything, I would try to imagine that bias can come from anywhere. But you see, here's the thing with me. I don't. You see, I want us to separate issues. See, I look at everything from all sides. So, for example, as much as I understand the role that Europeans have played historically and continue to play to this present moment in Africa's condition, there is also an acknowledgement the responsibility of African leadership.
Let's play back. That's the thing. We don't play back. They just keep on making the move. They just keep on making the moves. We don't play back.
Yeah. So you see, that's what I'm saying, Lindo.
So it's
you
on us.
you must look at it from all sides. No, it's not on us. It's not all on us. We must take our share.
No.
We must take our
Literally.
share. No. We must take our share of the responsibility, right? But we must also acknowledge what other people are deliberately doing to us. We must not be naive and walk around like, oh, I don't want to hate. I don't want. No. It's not about hate. I said, what did I say was at the top? I said assertiveness, then strategy. It's strategy. Strategy means you look at reality for what it is. So, the United States of America is a lion coming to devour you. You can't be sitting there, oh no, I don't want to. Nah, nigga, you can't be thinking about, I don't want to offend anyone, I don't want to be. No, how do I survive? How do I stay alive? How do I prosper? How do I make myself stronger
But we're an elephant.
so that I can defend myself?
We're an elephant. We're an elephant. We're more powerful than we actually think. You know.
Oh, so okay, tell me this, Mlindo.
We just need to step on this.
No.
And it's done.
No,
But we're gonna run away.
if we're so powerful, why are we still losers? Pella Africans,
'Cause we are elephants.
as far as I understand, realistically in the world, we are at the bottom of the hierarchy of everything you can count. Economic, social status, whatever. We always at the bottom. So if we're so powerful, we have this potential. But you see, this is what I'm saying, Lindo. We do need to be positive in our thinking and try to, but we must not divorce ourselves from irreality. Strength, different. How do we close the gap? We must focus. Let's not confuse ourselves with emotions. Focus and be real about your reality. I don't see it as a shameful thing to say Africa is at the bottom in everything. It's a reality check. It's an assessment. It's what do they say, environmental or situational awareness. It is an awareness. When you're in the jungle and you're not necessarily the bulkiest animal, you must be aware. The smallest animals don't try to go up against vicious predators. They find ways to escape, evade, and so on. But now, in this sense, we have the potential to become the big animal. And I've given this strategy, in my channel repeatedly. Regional integration, cooperation among Africans, be stronger with your neighbors, and be open to all relationships that are mutually beneficial. Avoid being exploited. Normal things. These are just there's nothing radical I'm saying here. Assert yourself, assert your sovereignty, territorial integrity as a country. Nothing controversial. It's just things that everyone is saying everywhere else in the world. And I don't understand why Africans are so timid. You think the Chinese became powerful as they are by being timid and, rubbing hands in.
They just did it.
They did it. And
exactly my point.
and this is exactly what we need to do. But to do that, we need to understand what elements need to be in place.
True.
Because I can tell you right now, South Africa is never going to become strong on its own without its regional neighbors, without its fellow African countries. Forget Kotla. You are playing. You think South Africa can stand toe-to-toe with the US, China, Russia? You're joking. Stop joking. Let's not even joke, guys. I don't even want to go into that conversation. It's silly. You cannot.
Let me just make a couple of points.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to go back a little bit to the elephant example I was trying to make. When I say that you're an elephant, it's like, name one other animal that is as big as an elephant or even bigger that you can scare off. It's only an elephant. A giraffe, well, okay, I guess than a giraffe. But those type of animals, they big, but then somehow it's almost as if, but I want to use a giraffe. I think a giraffe you can take down. Whereas the strength of an elephant, for it to be as scared as it is, it's crazy. So that's how I see South Africa, because we have everything to be a prosperous country and a very powerful, a superpower in this world. Everything. We can literally shut down every trade partner we have and just be us, and we can still stand and have countries being them that want to come back to us, because we have everything to survive. But then it's a country like America that does not really have everything to survive. That is like, hey, we provide the world with everything. You know what? We're charging you extra for everything we give you. this, that, and the other. And it's like, hey, imagine if it was Africa that was calling out those demands. Because if Africa was like, we're not trading with anybody, the world shuts down.
Lindo.
You know?
Africa or South Africa?
Well, I am talking about South Africa, but I'm also including Africa as well, because I know South Africa has everything, but also Africa as a whole has everything.
Now, Lindo, you see, I hope you hear me, my brother, and I'm not going to rebuttal after this, but you are making my point. You see, you mentioned Africa making a decision. How can you reach that decision if you're not on good terms with your neighbors? This is what I'm talking about. Regional integration. You must have some sort of cooperation for you to even get to that point, because South Africa can't say, "Oh no, I'm not selling this," and then Nigeria says, "Nah, nigga, if you're selling, I'll sell." So what then? It doesn't do anything. You need to actually agree and say, "This is our stance." I mean, the things that the Ibrahim Traore, those other two brothers, from Niger and Mali, and I believe the reason why they're even still standing is because they did that tripartite alliance. You know what I mean? Because alone, none of those countries were going to do anything. So you need, look, man, it's the same concept. In the jungle, you can't make it alone. If you can't face a pack on your own. When you're talking about Asia, they are one. You talk about Arabs, they are one. You talk about Europe, they are one, although they are disintegrating. But the strength is in that oneness, because when you speak with one voice, you are stronger. I'm telling you, Lindo, you can say South Africa is everything. Nah? It's fine, but
I want
you won't.
to finish with my point.
You won't. South Africa won't make it alone.
Yeah, but let me just finish. As saying that, at the end of the day, I wanted to go into that. At the same time, I'm painting a picture of what could be, what we have, and what we could do with it. But then now, going to the point why that can't happen, because we don't have the people to do it. Because at the end of the day, and I know why we don't have the people to do it. We may have the smartest people and everything. I am telling you, as long as black people politically, we go into our leftist minds. Politically, we are leftist. But then at the same time, when it comes to socially and, how we actually want things to be, we are conservative. Especially black people in general. They are naturally conservative. Naturally. They're traditional. They want things to go a certain ways, very spiritual, very heavily on faith, all those things, And we run away from those things. And when we go into political spaces, we start talking all these leftist ideas about these programs being brought up and this community getting this and this thing happening and whatnot. We lose ourselves when we go into politics. We start, at the end of the day, it starts at home. So we'll see the African countries, others. Migration should be the last thing on our thoughts. We can only talk about migration once we are stable, and we cannot even negotiate with our other African countries because they're not there yet. We can only negotiate with someone who's there, who wants to take the next step. Because now we can't just go to, let's say, Nigeria, for example, and they're not there. They're busy still on their leftist agendas of whatever, sending out condoms into schools and all those things and stuff. Maybe they're still on that and stuff, But once there's actually people on the agenda of Africa first, and they actually taking the hard decisions and working on making this continent the best as it could be, then we have nothing. But then that will only start with one country at least, and that country should be South Africa.
South Africa is late. South Africa is late. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger are doing it in real time. And that is the example in Africa, not South Africa. South Africa ain't done shit. Let's not prop ourselves. I mean, look, I'm a South African, y'all, but and I'm proud to be of South Africa, but we ain't done shit. Ibrahim Traore is showing us off. So to your point, Lindo, since you are saying we should find people who are about it. There they are in the Sahel. Why are we not joining them? Since they are doing it now, they're not talking about it, they are doing it. They are standing.
The point that I
So
was
sing about joining. Why?
You see, when I was saying that we cannot negotiate with countries that are not ready yet, if South Africa is not ready yet, there's nothing they can negotiate with South Africa, because South Africa is gonna be like terrorist, because they already adopted the American democratic mindset. They're gonna be like, oh, what terrorists doing is terrorism, because they were taught that it's terrorism. You have people that are saying Gaddafi was a terrorist. You have people that are saying Mugabe was a terrorist. We have people who are saying, so at the end of the day, the propaganda works as well, But then we should never ever think that propaganda is only designed for black people. White people are going through it. Arabs are going through it. The Chinese, the Asians, all of them are going through it. Everyone is propaganda, bro. It's just a few elite.
And yet they stay winning. Just want to point that out.
Because at least the minimum that the government should do, we should understand that the government that we have is not that maybe they They just can't do their job, full stop. And then they cause an inflation.
Votelani EFF. Siqede le ndaba, sithathe yonke into senze izinto. That's my last one on this point.
Yeah, but yeah, so all I'm saying is that, guys, let's, as black people especially, let's forget the left-wing ideologies. I know that almost every political party in South Africa is, imagine, EFF, ANC, DA, MK, all these parties are all left-wing. They all share the
MK
same...
is not exactly left-wing.
Yeah, but they share similar ideologies, all of them. So they're all there in the parliament arguing over nothing. They share the same ideologies, all of them. So we actually don't have an opposition in South Africa, because there's only two mentalities. It's either you conservative or you progressive. That's the only ideologies that live. So at the end of the day, they try to be progressive in this country, and every time they come up with bad ideas. They're not progressive with education, they're not progressive with sports, military, all those things. The only thing that they're progressive with is propaganda. That's the only thing.
I gave you the solution, Lindo. Votelani EFF. That's your only solution. Maybe so that we don't do this for too long. There are so many topics I wanted to talk about. It's just that you and me, it gets heated in Lindo, man. Hey, and I can see
Imagine if we had too much.
That would be chaos. Hey, our ghost is even worried now that it's cut. Hey, Kotwa, it gets heated, but we'll circle back to that one. But just because, yeah, I don't know if you watched DJ Swu, no Penwell, no Rob Hessoff, Hustler's Corner. I don't know if you watched that thing. People are talking about it.
Yeah, but they'll find out on the next episode, or they should subscribe to the membership. And then they find out that, what happened with DJ Smoo and Manuel, So make sure that you subscribe and find out, So, yes, I'm sure you're going to be dropping some short clips as well for the people.
For sure. And by the way, we don't know whether you're going to find out at Mlinzi Africa or Plus 27 Talks. So you got to be on both.
Stay tuned.
You got to keep watching both spaces. You don't know where we're going to be when we talk about Urobesov, Penwell, and DJ Smoo in Mzake's kitchen. In Mzake's kitchen.
You know what's coming next.
It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah. No, those are my last thoughts. Ghost.
Yeah, let me just say a couple of things and then we go. So yeah, guys, make sure that you search Plus 27 talks. It's a, is it a plus sign or is it a word? It's a word.
Plus, correct?
For the channel, is it plus or is it plus?
We are just confirming that now.
Yes, but
with
it's
our team.
plus 27 talks on YouTube. You go there, you subscribe. You subscribe on Linda Arts, you subscribe on this channel as well. You try and support the channel. It's everywhere. So search on your Facebook, search on your Twitter, search on your TikTok, search anywhere. If it's not there, continue searching until it's there.
So, okay, so
So
it is the
it's
actual
plus.
word plus. It is not the plus sign.
Yeah.
So it's the actual word plus, not the plus sign. But again, let me reiterate: go subscribe to Lindo Gutle Art. Okay.
Oh, yes. Wait. And also, I forgot. Okay. Yes, you can follow Linda Gusha Art, but that's my music channel. Really, for these type of hot topics that we'll be talking here, if you want to hear them on my channel, where you get my radical point of view on my side, you go on LA Reacts. It's LA reacting. So you reacts. It's LA Reacts, So you're going to catch me there where you're going to catch the LA Reacts show where we dive deep in this political sphere,
Do you cook though? You cook? Like for real? You cook? Like on the show?
Bro. I've been cooking, bro.
Do you cook like I cook though? No, bafethu. Sisonke and vele uzonginvite vele
For sure. LA Reacts.
because again, man, we're trying to build a network. As you can see today, I have the best quality, and it is not my genius. It is the genius of these brothers. There's brothers in the background, making it happen. And so, building this network, working together more, trying to go further, together with like-minded people, who disagree every now and then. It's incredible. But these brothers are brilliant. So, Bafetu, I know. Hey, Bafetu, I have to thank you for, doing this setup. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, we'll check you
Shout
later.
out to James Mbo, yo. Shout out to James, yo. James was so worried about the setup, bro. So yeah, man, he made it happen. So come on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, yo. See you on the flip side, yo.
Aware, we out.
Why your mother